and I think this is a great Clare Boothe Luce lesson, is whatever you do it better than everybody else. You know, I don't care if all you're doing is writing your history paper. Write the best history paper ever. I don't care if you're babysitting. Be the best babysitter ever. Always understand that if you work harder and stronger and longer, you're better qualified than everybody else, then nobody can take that away. And it will give you a confidence that you need as a woman.
Writing the first edition of the War Against Boys. At the time, it was all the rage, you know, let's raise the boys like we raised the girls. And I remember a workshop at Wellesley College, and all these teachers came who had tried to calm them down, and a lot of mothers were trying to raise Junior just like his sister, and Junior was not cooperating. The boys do not cooperate with efforts to get them to behave more like girls. They just don't.
Respect is more important than being nice or liked. Now, let's talk about respect for just a moment. Respect cannot be required. It can only be earned. Earned. You can't demand it. You can't buy it. You can't order it online. You can't even ask for it for free. You cannot say to somebody, you have to respect me. Now they may say you have to treat me in a respectful manner. Those are two different things. Respect is only earned.
In terms of your own personal lives, you're all still in college, you're young, with social media. Now, I love social media. I think it's a great tool, but I think that once you start working for a professional organization, you then have an obligation to become more mature with your social media use. If you want to be a private person, then you need to have all of your social media accounts on private. To give you an example, I have 3 Facebook pages. One is private for family, friends, people who I maybe still talk to back at home. And the other is for work-related stuff, and the other is kind of like a public page, right? And the reason I do that is because it's important to keep them separate. You can have private conversations that aren't seen to everyone else, and that aren't seen necessarily taken out of context to people who you don't want to see them, right?
They played a game in the classroom. It was a game. It was a white privilege game in which everyone stood in the back of the room, and then the teacher said, take 2 steps forward if your parents went to college. Take 3 steps forward if you speak another language in your home. Take 2 steps backwards if that language is Spanish. And they go back and forth and back and forth. And so by the end of it, all the white people were up in the front of the room, and the black and Hispanic kids were in the back of the room. And this teacher basically taught these children how to think divisively about one another because of their diversity instead of celebrating their unity. It was the most horrible thing, and just complete. Now, and that's the sort of lesson plan you really can't contradict. You can't go in and say, stop teaching, this kind of bias to my child. The kids in the class, to their credit, were horrified. They said, that's not true. We're all here together in this school. We all have opportunity. Where some of our best students are people you have standing in the back of the room. That makes no sense. Oh, well, statistically, this is America. This is the culture that you're coming up in, and this is what you have to know. So instead of teaching young people how to throw all that out the window and say, we'll have none of it, it was indoctrinating them to accept this is the status quo and you're part of it.
Absolutely loved my internship with CBLPI this summer because it prepared me for the liberal backlash that I got on my campus when I had the audacity to speak out against the liberal bias on that campus. They prepared me with a strong backbone and the resources I needed to be able to handle this and make myself a stronger conservative woman.
But when you look at the 2 courses that the states have taken over the last decade, you see the states of California and New York and Illinois going the way of Washington, D.C., which is higher taxes, which is bigger government, which is building the so-called safety net. And then you see Texas. And in 10 years, here is where we have come in Texas. Texas is now the nation's largest manufacturing export state. We have almost 1,000 people a day moving here from across the country. We are now number 2 in the nation for most Fortune 500 companies. And in fact, we just passed California in technology exports. Our unemployment rate has been at or below the national average for 104 months. Since the Great Recession began in 2008, Texas has created 53% of the new jobs since that time. So put another way, Texas has created more jobs than every other state combined since the recession began.